Welcome to Central News. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, an Effluent Expo will be held on the 26th of March at the Mystery Creeks Event Centre for farmers to discuss better effluent management. Waikato Regional Council, with sponsorship from Dairy NZ, organised the expo to do more to protect water quality and water resources in the Waikato from the impacts of intensive agriculture, especially nutrients and bacteria from dairying and other livestock farming. Many fines have been issued to farmers recently due to unlawful pollution from effluent runoff. Waikato Regional Council's Manager of Environmental Farming Systems says the expo will benefit farmers by showing them better ways to manage the effluent.
We've got the third Waikato Effluent Expo coming up on the 26th of March at the Mystery Creek Event Centre. It's a chance for farmers, dairy farmers, to find out all they need to know about effluent management in a single day at a single place. There'll be 40 exhibitors there, and we're organising this with support from Dairy NZ.
Waikato District Health Board will increasingly encourage and support older people to stay in their homes as part of a long-term strategy to address the needs of the region's ageing population. Registered health professionals on behalf of Waikato DHB's Disability Support Link will soon contact the 2,500 people who currently receive some form of assistance for a reassessment to check whether their needs have changed. The DHB's Communication Director Marianne Gill says the elderly will benefit greatly.
In Waikato DHB, we've got 2,500 older people who are currently receiving this care. Look, they deserve to know whether the care they're getting is the appropriate amount of care, whether they need more, or whether in fact we need to tailor it a bit better. So, these people have given a lifetime of service to our communities. We owe it to them to talk them through what is happening now and to ensure that they're getting appropriate services either in their homes or in residential aged care, because the last place we want to see them is in our hospitals.
Bay of Plenty farmers continue to highlight the significant economic contribution agriculture makes to the economy in this year's Balance Farm Environment Awards. Within the Bay of Plenty region, there have been 12 entries for this year's awards, where farmers have the opportunity to demonstrate individual farming practices. However, Bay of Plenty Regional Coordinator Margaret Wright admits this number is down on previous years in what she labels a managed decrease. Margaret says it is not easy getting farmers to enter the awards, as they are coy about receiving recognition for their work. And now for our region's weather. Hamilton, your Wednesday will be fine with light winds and an expected high of 26 and an overnight low of 13. Tauranga, you also will have a fine day, but with an easterly breeze. Your expected high is 24 and an overnight low of a very warm 16. Just ahead, our Waikato University team and their prestigious competition. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. A group of students from the University of Waikato are representing New Zealand in a very prestigious IT business competition, but they need your help to get them there. Amy caught up with some of the team to find out about their team, Team Forte.
Carleen, tell us about Team Forte. What do you do and how was your group formed?
Okay, Team Forte is a group of 4 students from Waikato University Management School. We're called Team Forte because we all have our own fortes. We have skills ranging from electronic commerce, strategic management, accounting and logistics. We've all come together because we have an interest in IT and business, and we're really keen to show what we can do on a global scale. So our team consists of 4 members and 1 coach. We've got Bevan Dawson, who's not with us today. We've got Chris Williams, Timothy Damon, and I'm Carleen Pudiri. And we also have our coach, who is Professor Bob McQueen, who is the head of the e-commerce degree at Waikato University.
Now, Chris, you have recently been accepted to represent our country at the CASE IT competition in Vancouver. So what did you have to do to qualify for this?
So our team had to submit a business strategy. We were given a case that we had to present PowerPoint slides on and do a narration over the top. Involved a lot of investigation, coming up with different strategies and then picking the strategy that we liked the most and submitting our reasons for why we chose that strategy as opposed to the others. We then submitted that through to the organising committee, who let us know we won.
Carleen, can you tell us a bit about the strategy that you submitted?
Yep, certainly. The strategy that we submitted required us to put in a lot of critical thinking and a lot of analysis. A lot of this we've been learning at university, so everything was fresh in our minds, so it was really good. We knew that we wanted to come up with something that was a little bit different, something that wasn't too generic, and we feel we did do that. So the case that we were given was a hospitality industry business who had come up with a new enterprise-wide software that basically ran their whole business. It was a competitive edge for them, and they weren't really too sure what direction they should take the software. So our strategy for them was that we came up with 3 different strategies, but the alternative that we thought they should take was actually to take on a consultancy role so that they could keep their competitive edge and use it in another business as well.
Now, Tim, how many teams submitted their IT case, and how many will you be competing against on the day?
Well, I mean, there were 40 teams that competed from around the world, and they were vying for 13 positions. There were 16 teams in total, but the other 3 teams were given those positions because they got the first 3 spots in last year's competition. So we got 1 position of 13 out of 13.
And what does the competition involve?
The competition is quite intense. As it says, it's a 24-hour case IT. So basically, they were locked away in a hotel room. We are isolated from any comms, cell phone, internet, anything like that. After the 24 hours has passed, you'll have to do a presentation in front of 150 people, as well as a panel of judges, which have some high-powered CEOs and members of companies such as SAP Technologies and people like that. Once we get past that, because the team's confident we can, we'll go on to a quick-fire round where we get time to analyse what we've said, and then we have to answer questions. And that's only for the top 4 teams, which we are hoping to be.
So, Carleen, what is your goal, and how do you hope to achieve this goal?
Okay, so we really have one goal, and that's to win the competition. We think that we've got the skills to do it. We want to put New Zealand on the global map as far as IT case competitions go, and represent everyone that supported us, our families, our friends, our extended community, the Waikato University as well, and all of the businesses and organisations that are helping put us on this global stage.
Chris, when does the competition take place?
Okay, well, 10 days from now, we arrive in Vancouver on the 6th, and it goes until the 9th.
And how can members of the public help you guys to get to Vancouver to represent New Zealand?
Okay, well, we've had a lot of really awesome support so far from the university, from Air New Zealand, from some of the local maraes and tribes, and other businesses and trusts. But we do need your help to get here. We've still got approximately $10,000 that we need to raise. So we're open to donations. We have a Facebook page. We're on Twitter. We'd love people to come along and check out what we're doing and like our page. And if they can donate. And we're looking for sponsors as well. We aim to represent New Zealand and our sponsors while we're there.
Coming up next, we find out about our fishing quotas for the summer. Welcome back. One of the many great ways to spend a summer day with the family is fishing, and the bonus is you sometimes get dinner out of it. I spoke with Hooked on Fishing's Chris Bungard to find out what our quotas are with some of our more popular fish. Chris, what are the fishing quotas and the size limits of our most popular fish, snapper?
Yeah, well, it's 2 different coasts vary. The East Coast is 9, and the West Coast, for some reason, they used to be 15 out there. When they changed it back, they must have felt that they just wanted to keep that one better than the East Coast, so they're still 10 out there. The size is 27 centimetres, which is very small. You know, to be fair, most of my customers and most fishers probably limit themselves to 30 centimetres, you know, and us old fellas' terms is 12 inches. And really, if a fish is under that, you're not going to get a decent sort of a fillet off it anyway. So most guys let them go under 30 centimetres. And it's quite interesting with a snapper. They actually start breeding from about 20 centimetres long. So when you catch a 27 centimetre snapper, he's actually had 1 or 2 breeding seasons before you catch them. So let them go at about 30. It just, helps keep the stocks up there. Really, it's good.
How are you meant to? What's the correct way to actually measure?
Yeah, from the tip of their nose to the inner V of their tail. So you've got the V of their tail like that. So the inside of the V, not the end of the tail, where the V starts, to the tip of his nose.
Because I suppose you could get away with that, couldn't you? You go, oh, it's measuring to the end of the tail.
Yeah, I didn't really know, but it's...
Some people must do that.
Yeah, probably. But honestly, a 27 centimetre snapper is a little snapper, so most people put them back.
So what about kahawai?
Kahawai, there's no limit on the size. I think they mainly do that because a lot of people use them for live baits for bigger fish and kingfish and marlin and all that sort of thing. So there's no limit on the size of kahawai. And of course, kids catch them off the wharfs and all that sort of thing. So it's very hard to, tell a little kid to put his kahawai back if he's caught a little one. So yeah, there's no size limit on them at all.
How big would it have to be to actually be able to?
Well, to be edible, it's still got to be around about that same size, 30 centimetres. And the old kahawai is pretty underrated. It's a very nice fish smoked. It's not that great a table fish, but in the smokehouse, it's really nice.
And what are some of the more common fish species here in New Zealand?
Well, probably your gurnard, your teriki are your most common ones. Gurnard, teriki, kahawai and snapper, they're probably your 4 most prolific. And then in your deeper water, people go out and target blue nose and harp hooker and bass and all that sort of thing. But you're more in sort of 180 to 200 metres of water plus. So then, of course, this time of the year, everybody's looking at getting excited to go out and hunt the big legendary marlin. And yeah, not very, pretty rare. And if you can catch one, it's a thrill of a lifetime, really. There's boats over in Tauranga and that sort of thing have fished for 20 years plus and still not caught a marlin, But if you can get one, they're pretty exciting. But those are your 4 most prolific ones. And really, the limits in New Zealand, you can catch a lot of fish. Like, for example, if you and I went out fishing, you can catch 9 snapper each, and you can catch 20 fin fish, which is a combination of cod, gurnard, kahawai, teriki and all that sort of thing. So literally, you could have your 18 snapper, you could have 20 fin fish each. So we'd come home with 58 fish if you wanted to. So people sort of growl that the limits are pretty limiting and there's not I can't get a decent feed and all that, but gosh, if you can catch your limit, that's a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish. You just set up a fish and chip shop with that.
Exactly.
For those of us who don't have the luxury of the boat, and especially going way out deep, what are some good tips for catching fish off the wharf?
Well, the thing is, I've always put in my columns, and when I talk on the fishing show, and that get kids out to the wharves and everything, grandparents and parents and all that sort of thing. And kids' expectations are a lot lower than you think they are. Like, people seem to have this thing that they want to get to the wharf and catch a monster, and their kids want to catch a monster. They love to just catch a spotty or a little sprat or a mackerel or something like that. They just love it. And they see their little faces light up. I've got 6 grandchildren now, and to take them out fishing, it's just amazing. Now, they don't, you can just go to the wharf, you can get what they call a sabiki rig, which is basically a little flasher rig with 5 or 6 little hooks on it. Put a bit of rolled oats or a little bit of burley or something in the water, get the sprats and the little spotties and baby kahawai and stuff. They come around the wharves, and the kids use these little sabiki rigs on the end of their rods, and they'll virtually catch anything. And they love it. I remember when my boys were 2 years old and we started fishing with them, they caught a little mackerel and they wrapped it up in newspaper and slept with it that night. And the next night we're out on a boat for a week. Sounds a bit yucky, but next day we just had to wrap another roll of newspaper around it so the smell didn't come through. But what I'm saying is kids just love that. It's a great experience for them.
Can you catch anything big off the wharf?
Absolutely. For example, just locally here, when I say locally, it's 40, 50 k's away, but at the Mount, Salisbury Wharf there's been more than, regularly good kingfish and that sort of thing caught off there. And a kingfish has got to be 750 long, so it's a fairly big fish. And they're caught regularly off that wharf. And in fact, often the kids will catch the liveys or the little fish, and then they use the bigger fish, put a hook on it and set it out as a live bait for kingfish and what have you. So the kids are actually doing mum and dad a favour, or granddad, and he puts a livey out and catches a kingy. So you can have a really neat fun day off the wharves, and particularly around Tauranga there, we're pretty blessed really with the fishing that can be had there.
What about rock fishing? What's some good tips there?
Well, people sort of think Matamata, we're surrounded by rivers and streams and all that sort of thing, and there's a lot of great fishing freshwater fishing around the area here, but we're sort of quite central as well to West Coast, Carfia, Raglan. There's good rock fishing over there. Coromandel, and the East Coast, of course, around the Mount. There's good fish caught off the Mount. Probably my favourite area would be the Coromandel, though, because it's quite safe. We're talking before about the safety of rock fishing. There's a lot of fish, a lot of people get caught, if you like, on the West Coast. There's big waves coming there, and you're often caught out of, you're just unaware. And for some reason, people will wear a life jacket on a boat, but when they're standing on the rocks, they think, oh, I'm on the land, I don't need a life jacket on. A big wave catches them out and they're in the water. Next thing, they've got no protection, and a lot of people, unfortunately, get drowned rock fishing around New Zealand.
For a list of fishing quotas and regulations, visit the Ministry for Primary Industries Fisheries website, fish.gov.nz. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. Last year, the Waikato Enactus team swept up many awards throughout the country. So Amy caught up with two members of the team to find out how they went from strength to strength and what they have in the pipelines for 2013.
Yep, so Enactus stands for Entrepreneurs in Action, and we are a non-profit worldwide organisation that creates entrepreneurial projects within the community. So within Enactus Waikato, we have a group of students from various faculties, and throughout the year we work on entrepreneurial projects that tackle relevant needs, whether these are social needs, environmental needs, and as well as coming up with a solution to these issues, we empower people in need along the way so that our projects are sustainable and will last into the future.
And Greg, can you give us a bit of background into how Enactus was formed?
Yeah, sure. So Enactus, formerly SIFE, started in America in 1975. And basically they were a national organisation for quite some time before moving international. A group of students and a pretty passionate lecturer 10 years ago started SIFE in the Waikato University. We've just built from there to being quite a reasonable organisation within the business school and the greater Waikato University.
So Gina, as Greg said, there's been a recent name change from SIFE to Enactus. Why is that?
Yep, so we were originally called SIFE, which stood for Students in Free Enterprise. But over the years, as the organisation has grown, there was a lot of discussion over what free enterprise actually stood for and translations in different languages. So last year they went through a lot of brainstorming and came up with Enactus, which is Entrepreneurs in Action, and it just better reflects what we are and what we do.
Now Greg, tell us about some of the projects that you worked on last year.
Okay, cool. So we actually had quite a few different projects. We're split up into little teams, and so each of these teams do a different project. However, three of the main projects that we presented on at the Washington World Cup was a project that has helped a business owner who owns a bus company for the disabled, and we basically just helped her to really develop her business into something that's sustainable long term. Another project we did was working with farmers in the community to really help out and try and tackle this cause of degradation to our waterways. And the third project we presented on was helping at-risk youth in the Waikato community re-engage back into their schooling.
Now Gina, I hear you all did really well internationally last year, so can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yep, so our Enactus team won the national competition, and therefore we got to go to Washington DC to represent New Zealand at the World Cup event. So we got to showcase our projects amongst the top teams from 39 countries around the world. And it was just an amazing experience to really see what other countries are doing within their projects and to make connections and actually utilise ideas that they have and bring them back home and see what's relevant, what can we do, and how can we improve our projects for next year and beyond.
So Greg, what have you got lined up for 2013?
Basically, a lot of the projects have either finished up or are about to finish up for the last year. So we've just basically got a whole incubation team working over the summer to try and bring ideas, do a bit of work through, like taking them through an incubation phase, so that 2013 can see some really good projects coming to light. Basically we're just trying to build our organisation, build the connections within the community as well. And
how do you hope to achieve these goals?
I think there's a few key things. Firstly, I think it's the people, definitely. Like, we have to have some really passionate students, and we hope to get them from all different faculties. I think another secret is having some really passionate lecturers that can have connections within the university, that can give ideas and really help us to troubleshoot our issues and overcome barriers. But obviously a big one is the community support, business leaders that can really help with projects, making them bigger and better, other non-profit organisations that we can link in with, as well as big organisations who can see that some of our students are really good, and support us in not only developing our students, but also the projects that we do as well.
So Gina, can anyone join your team, and if so, how do they join?
Yep, so we're always on the lookout for anyone who's interested to be involved with Enactus. You don't necessarily have to be a student, you can be in the business world, from the community, academic, and we're always on the lookout for sponsors, for mentors with our projects, and people who are just keen to give us ideas, advice, all the extra connection we need. And in terms of students, you can be from any faculty within the university, and at the start of the semester we hold recruitment and we have information sessions, and also on our website www.enactuswaikato.org there's more information.
So what's involved?
Yeah, so there is a commitment from one end to another, but it's just a great team environment. We have weekly meetings and just looking for ways to come up with projects, build on them, and see those results through to the end.
And how successful were these projects?
So in the first centre that we worked with, the Richmond Centre, we actually helped. We got a $17,000 grant originally, and we built all these different resources and helped the teachers. And attendance actually went from 20% up to 70%, and has sort of maintained that. So that was really cool. And then the final project that we presented on was the Waihao Waterways project. We worked with one of the key farmers in the Waihao community, and basically helped him to buffer plant a lot of his river banks and the lake. And so now we're basically looking to really amplify that, let other farmers know how we did it, and also other community people to bring them in to try and help other farmers, as well as bring in big organisations such as New Zealand Beef and Lamb and the Fonterra, the likes of Fonterra. So yeah, hopefully that'll be success into the future as well. So.
That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have your own news, including video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. Amy will be here tomorrow night with more news and more guests from around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.